Ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge Daily Mail story that a lot of people aren't talking about, but it's an enormous breakthrough. We'll get to that in 1 second, okay? Daily Mail has really done an amazing job on Hunter and Joe and James and this wonderful administration of mashed potato brains and his bumbling band of incompetent, failed, but always morally superior and highly educated liberal Democrats. They're wonderful, presiding over record highs in inflation that's skyrocketing and really wonderful things like energy prices through the roof. We're heading into a recession. But see, again, geopolitical nightmare in Europe under his watch. When you see the thumbnail in all of these, whether it's Hunter, Joe, James, you will see a quote. It's from an October 14, 2020 article from the New York Post. I will always abide by YouTube guidelines, because everything that I talk about pertaining to Hunter and Joe and all of these people is my analysis from public record reputable sources. Email reveals how Hunter introduced businessman to VP dad. That is the article, and the quote you see in the thumbnail of these, because I just did a whole bunch of new thumbnails, is a May 2014 email from the number 3 executive of the energy company that was paying Hunter 50 to 80 grand a month or so, asking for, quote, advice on how you could use your influence, end quote, on the company's behalf. Okay, now we have, so when people say, well, what's the big deal? I mean, okay, so he didn't pay his taxes. Well, the big deal is that he is trading his family name because of the connections he can offer business people, wealthy donors, conglomerates, corporations, even companies that are under sanction in countries that are geopolitical adversaries or rivals, or a country. He was on the board of directors of an energy company in a country now that's being invaded in one of the worst geopolitical nightmares in modern European history. Oh, that's right. It's under it's during the tenure of mashed potato brains and his wonderful administration. Anyway, Daily Mail exclusive. Whistleblower who handed Hunter's abandoned laptop to Congressman and DailyMail.com reveals he has 450 gigabytes of deleted material, including 80,000 images and videos, and has fled to, we'll just say, Europe, fearing retaliation from this administration. Jack Maxey gave DailyMail.com a copy of the hard drive from Hunter's abandoned laptop in the spring of 2021. DailyMail.com has published dozens of stories on Hunter's, let's just say, use of substances, romantic relationships, and questionable business dealings. For the past 2 weeks, Maxey has been in Europe working with IT experts to obtain more data from the laptop from you-know-where. He says he intends to post them all online in a database in the coming weeks. Maxey says he found 450 gigabytes of erased materials, including 80,000 images and videos and more than 120 archived emails. Okay, this is a Daily Mail article. This is a Daily Mail article not long, just about a week ago. People aren't talking about this. They are not talking about the Daily Mail reporting. That's actual journalism, true journalism, not because it bolsters my biases or viewpoint of the Democratic Party. You can look at the Daily Mail does reporting and journalism, even if it's detrimental to the Republican Party. So does the New York Post. The New York Post is not CNN or MSNBC, or even the Washington Post or the New York Times. You can look at the Daily Mail and the New York Post, in both of those publications. If there's a story to be told, they don't really care about political party. The reason that they're viewed to be more conservative in terms of their bias is that they actually report on the immense and never-ending corruption of the Democratic Party. You just had a Democratic mega donor arrested, indicted, and sent to prison for a long, long time for committing despicable, heinous atrocities. Then you had the lieutenant governor of New York indicted just the other day. Back-to-back catastrophes for the Democratic Party. Now you have Hunter investigated. Now you have a big tax bill that apparently Joe owes. That's according to the New York Post. But you have to ask yourself this question. By the way, I will be doing segments every day. I did a segment on the stock market crash channel, very important segment on the fact that there's still $800 billion in margin debt within the stock market that will lead directly to a stock market crash. You will have hedge funds because of the derivatives nightmare we faced. All of these derivatives contracts purchased on margin, like we saw with Archegos, the smaller hedge fund that went under last year. You'll see a too big to fail moment because you have all of these investment banks and all of these hedge funds with debt that the SEC and FINRA doesn't know about. And I talk about that on the stock market crash channel. That segment is below in the pinned comment right underneath the Indict and Imprison 45 channel, comedy, satire. You'll love it. So those two channels, if you want even more of H.A. Goodman, they're there below in the pinned comment. Hit subscribe to this channel. We have a lot to talk about, and also I will always have a segment right before midnight Pacific time. So just if no matter where you are, if you're watching in another country, if it's about midnight, almost midnight California time, just watch out for a segment. Expect a segment on this channel as well. Ladies and gentlemen, so we're almost at 200,000 subs on this channel, so tell your friends. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. Ladies and gentlemen, you have 450 gigabytes of erased material, 80,000 images, and 120 archived emails. Do you think the Washington Post would be interested if it was Jared Kushner or Eric Trump Jr. or Donald Trump Jr.? Do you think if they lost a laptop, the New York Post or the New York Times, CNN, Washington Post, MSNBC would be interested? Do you think they would be interested? If you happen to stumble upon this and you're a wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrat, if the reverse were true and Donald Trump lost a laptop, like Hunter did, and there were deleted emails, I mean, you have Madam Secretary, Hunter, the DNC emails showing that they cheated Bernie Sanders. They can't type an email without an absolute calamity and this news story that their entire public relations machine has to suppress and silence. We couldn't talk about this. I couldn't talk about this on YouTube two years ago. We couldn't talk about it. I don't have Twitter or Facebook, but if you have Twitter or Facebook, you couldn't talk about it. You'd be suspended or maybe banned. And now we're finding out it's true. And when they say, "Oh, you're believing it's conspiratorial nonsense," it turns out oftentimes or a lot of times to be true. And they just can't believe that their side. See, this is the problem with American politics. I have no problem if the reverse were true and Donald Trump Jr. lost a laptop and it had 450 gigabytes and 80,000 images and 120 archived emails, and he's trying to broker deals of tens of millions of dollars with his father from a Chinese company, for example, that's under sanction for facial recognition software that it used against people of its own citizenry, okay, for human rights violations. If you had emails saying, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? If you have emails saying, well, I have to give half of my salary to Donald Trump. Instead, you have Hunter saying he gives half of his salary. I would have no problem reporting on that. It would be better for my channel. Would I be happy? No. I wouldn't be happy because I like Donald Trump. And I like DeSantis. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like anyone the Lincoln Project opposes. And I've explained that, and I'm not going to go into a 10-hour rant. But it would be great for my channel. It wouldn't even just be the Indict and Imprison 45 channel. I'd actually be serious. I'd say, look, he's probably engaging in clear, corrupt schemes. They don't have anything on Trump. That's what's so comedic and satirical about the Indict and Imprison 45 channel below in the pinned comment. They don't have anything on Trump. They keep on thinking that they found, he's, the walls are closing in on him because they found, his tax returns, because they think his tax returns were linked to Moscow somehow, or he's inflating his net worth. I mean, it's like not, Not only is that not real, it's a crime, but you're not going to inflate the real estate valuations in New York. These are the most expensive apartments, hotels in the world. So it's very difficult for New York city attorneys to understand New York real estate. They don't own these properties. Trump does, and he's made his money for like 30, 40 years. He has his family. His father owned them too. So they know the real estate market. It's the most expensive, aside from Tokyo and a couple other cities, in the world. So good luck trying to say that he inflated the valuations of his holdings and deceived Deutsche Bank. Do you think these banks are stupid? Of course, the Deutsche Bank, they know what they're doing. And they know if they do business with Trump, no matter what, they have that brand name to fall back on. So, and he's successful in terms of real estate. That's how he has $3 billion, according to Wikipedia. So I would definitely report and give my analysis and say, hey, you know what? I think that Trump, is doing something really shady. The problem is, like for example, they have the congressional panel with Kinzinger and Cheney. They're grasping at straws. He didn't tell people to commit crimes, just like Democrats didn't say, hey, commit those crimes, get in people's faces. You had 10,000 arrests during that summer. Yeah, it was for a good cause, but there's no cause worthy of $1 to $2 billion in property damage. I agree with the people demonstrating, but I don't agree with $1 to $2 billion in property damage and 25 lives lost and 10,000 arrests plus, and Democrats bailing out people, whereas they just go after Trump as, oh my God, as if like this, it never happened in that summer. Every day with fire but peaceful, and then CNN journalists were like being mocked for just standing in front of a building in flames. These people, this is the thing. Politics, for me, politics is not my religion, okay? It's not who I am. It's not my identity. Politics, for the morally superior liberal Democrats, it's who they are. It's their identity. That's why they have to purge themselves of friends and family, because they can't possibly say, oh my God, Joe and Hunter are really corrupt. They will never say that. If they are so far gone in terms of becoming ideologues because it's who they are, it's like a religion to them, it's dogma. If there was a letter saying, hey, Joe, we're going to give you money, give your son Hunter money in exchange for you helping us with foreign policy, signed corrupt businessman or government official in another country, they still wouldn't agree with it. They still, even if it was proven that it was accurate and legitimate, they would be like, well, Trump is worse. Trump is worse. But Trump doesn't have this problem. See, here's the thing. Could you imagine if even 1 gigabyte, if even one image, even one archived email was found? They would go nuts. Do you think that Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers and Saturday Night Live wouldn't every single day, every single weekend, make fun of photos of anyone associated with Trump if they were the same photos as Hunter? They don't, because it's a public relations machine. You can't even enjoy Saturday Night Live. My God. And the Democratic Party, if they don't have every single possible advantage, from the Saturday Night Live to social media algorithms to the Washington Post and CNN, if they don't have every advantage, imagine where Biden's approval rating would be. It would be in the low 20s. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Huge story. 450 gigabytes, including 80,000 digital images and 120 archived emails deleted from Hunter's laptop. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now, and subscribe to Indict and Imprison 45 channel on YouTube, and subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel on YouTube. That's below in the pinned